Dan, good morning, man. How are you?
Gentlemen, happy early Thanksgiving to you both.
Oh, bless you. Right back at
Same
you.
to you, Dan.
You'll be busy.
Thank you.
But
You'll be busy, but at least you won't be in Detroit like you have been in past Thanksgiving. You can enjoy Thanksgiving at home before heading to Philadelphia, I would imagine. And Friday is going to be one of those games that a lot of people have been highly anticipating, a lot of hype surrounding it. I guess let's start there. How competitive do you think Friday will be?
Yeah, I think it will be very competitive because I think you've seen the Chicago Bears football team that finds ways to be competitive. I know this is a step up in class in terms of the quality of competition, but this isn't the same Eagles team that was showered in confetti in February. They've got vulnerabilities, they've got some weaknesses, and you've just got to be sharp. But I think having the opportunity to play this game is a very big deal for a program in the stage that the Bears are in, and now you go out there on a short week and you give it your best swing.
I guess as I look at this game and we talk about it, I thought that Declan Doyle did a really good job of breaking down the Vic Fangio defense and just discussing it. And I'm sure they're talking about it. But Vic creating a shell, trying to keep you from explosives, and the Bears obviously being able to create explosive plays has been the key to their season. Does it end here? Do you believe that his ability, a great defensive coordinator, can shut down an offense, and the chess match between Ben Johnson and Vic Fangio, one of the great defensive coordinators out there? Olin said that should be pay-per-view. Do you feel like it's that sort of a matchup and it comes down to that?
I really do, and Vic is the thing that worries me about this game the most from a Bears perspective, because you're trying to get ready for a coordinator who is so good at what he does, and you're trying to do it on a short week with a young quarterback. And so, whereas in the past I might have been very worried about the Bears being in a mismatch coaching staff-wise, you feel like they've got the guy in Ben Johnson to find answers, to go attack this week properly. Now it's about Caleb Williams applying those answers in real time. They're going to challenge you to run the football against a really aggressive front. They're going to, as you said, play a lot of shell, disguise coverages, and make you understand what you're seeing as soon as you take the snap. And so Caleb is really the guy under the magnifying glass this week on how quickly he can react to what he's seeing, apply the answers that Ben has given him. But for the first time in a long time, you feel great about what you have in your offensive coordinator to provide the blueprint to go try to win this football game. And that's an incredible feeling for the Bears to have. And again, now it's all about applying it in real time on Friday afternoon.
So, Dan, I know it's not as simple as this, but what would you say, or how would you describe the Bears' plan against Jalen Carter? Because the strength of the Bears' offense is in their interior line, and Jalen Carter is one of those guys, as we know all too well here in Chicago, can wreck a game quickly. So that, to me, is one of the more intriguing matchups on the line of scrimmage.
It's an intriguing matchup, and, you know, the Bears have a strength on the interior of their offensive line right now, and it's been incredible to kind of not worry about that part of your football team for most of this season, to feel like you're pretty secure up the middle. So now you've got to go out and win. You got to go out and win one-on-ones when they're there. You got to decide when you're going to apply some double teams. This is obviously, it's such a loaded defense in Philly, and with the players that you have to account for. You know, it's Jordan Davis right next to Jalen Carter. You've got Jalen Phillips and Nolan Smith coming at you. You know, there's Moro Ajomo's that had a good season to this point. And so, again, I think it just comes down to winning one-on-ones when you're asked to win one-on-ones, and they're going to have to figure out a way to do that consistently. Philly is not, you know, again, you go through some of their season to date, and you don't feel real intimidated by what you're facing. I think that the one area on both sides of the ball where they have the decided advantages is they're really good inside the red zone, both on offense and defense. And so that might be the ultimate X factor in this football game is whether you can match them with one of their strengths when the balls are when the ball is inside the 20 on both sides.
Dan, how much does the injury report impact your thoughts on this game, and what is the impact of the injury report? Who's in, who's out, to your knowledge?
The linebacking core, based on the estimated injury report we got yesterday, is still a mess, right? Noah Sewell, T.J. Edwards still out, Tremaine Edmonds on injured reserve, and so all the celebrating that was done on Sunday for how the reserves played in a justifiable way against the Steelers on Sunday, now takes on a new storyline when you've got to turn it around again and do it once again against the Eagles on Friday. I didn't think that the Steelers stayed committed to the running game the way that they could have and should have, given the success that they were having. Saquon Barkley's not having the season that he had last year, but man, that guy's a threat. And if you want to lean into him on Friday against a depleted Bears linebacking core, that there should be opportunities to do so. And so that's going to be significant. And then I think we're all kind of waiting to see when the official green light comes for both Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon. And I think there's some anticipation that might be this week.
If it happens Friday, or when it happens inevitably, I think that it's been interesting to me how from Ben Johnson to Al Harris and even Dennis Allen alluded to it, there doesn't seem to be a plan to reduce the playing time for Nahshon Wright. It would seem that Tyreek Stevenson might be an odd man out. There also could be the option of rotating Jalen Johnson in gradually until he gets his game season legs under him. But it sounds to me like, Dan, if you were to rank the guys who are going to be leading the cornerbacks in snaps, Nahshon Wright sounds like he has earned the confidence, and with 5 interceptions, you know why.
5 interceptions, two fumble recoveries, right? So 7 takeaways on the season, and you can't take a guy that's making that many plays off the field. I know he hasn't been airtight in coverage all the time and has been beaten for some big plays this season. But man, what a story he's been for the first 2.5 months of this season. And you've heard consistent messaging from inside the building. We've got to get our best 11 on the field, and at this point, he's been one of our best 11 for sure. Tyreek Stevenson's hip injury is a sort of a wild card in this whole discussion. It might make the point entirely moot, but you do offer some options there, David, with Jalen Johnson maybe not taking on his full workload right away, and you can figure out how you might want to rotate a few guys. But at a minimum, you said it, that Nahshon Wright has earned the trust and the confidence of his coaching staff, and justifiably so. He's not just making plays, he's making highlight reel plays. That interception to start that football game Sunday against Pittsburgh was next level, right? I mean, just an incredible catch, incredible body control to get the feet down. And so you just want to have guys on the field that play to your strengths. And one of the Bears' strengths this year has been taking the football away, particularly with the back end.
Dan, we talk about the Bears all the time, and we look at how they are. We look at them through the prism of the league. What are you seeing with the Eagles when you've dived into what they're doing? The very fact that they, goodness gracious, somehow lost to Dallas the way they did. Where are you at with that team, and what exactly are the Bears facing here?
So you guys will appreciate this because those Sunday results sometimes sneak up on you late at night. Like you're at the press box at Soldier Field, you're watching the game, you go down to the locker room, you're like, oh, Eagles are up 21 points. And then you get home and you're having a dinner and a cold one, and you're like, wait a second, the Cowboys won that game? And like, so you get shocked by some of the swings. It's a tough loss for them at this stage of the season, given what's at stake for a team that's, obviously trying to repeat, obviously trying to go after that number 1 seed in an NFC that is loaded at the top. I mean, the Rams and the Seahawks are really good. And so it's a disappointing loss. They haven't found themselves the way that they did a year ago. Again, they haven't been able to get Saquon Barkley unlocked. They haven't really been able to get A.J. Brown playing at his peak potential. Again, offensively, I think the two things that they do really well, we talked about the red zone just a minute ago, but they don't turn the ball over either. I think they're the fewest turnovers in the league so far this season. We've commended the Bears for how good they've been with ball security. The Eagles are even better, only 6 turnovers on the season. And so you're going to have to find, they're not going to beat themselves, but they're not as explosive as you'd fear. And so I think the Bears should have some level of confidence getting on that plane Thursday and going out there that they can very much get in that ring and compete.
How surprised were you, or what was your reaction to post-game Caleb Williams coming across as somebody who didn't just win a game? It looked like somebody who had maybe even lost it and was maybe disappointed in his performance. And that kind of reaction, I thought was telling, because you had a victory over a winning team for the first time this season, and you had a quarterback who had a big part in that victory not exactly exude that kind of exuberance that you might expect.
I think part of this season revolves around Caleb getting a true understanding of how difficult it is to play quarterback at a high level in this football league. And I think he's getting that right now. I think the coaching staff is reminding him every single day of how hard this position is and how many demands there are with it. And so I think some of it was that. Obviously, we know he missed some throws that he normally makes on Sunday, and those have to be better. He's last in the NFL right now, guys, in completion percentage. He's behind Cam Ward and Trevor Lawrence in that category, and that's got to get better for this offense to go where it wants to go. That said, they scored 31 points against a winning football team on Sunday, and it just feels like for us who have observed this offense for decades struggling to do anything, that this is a fantasy world where you can go out there and not play well and still get to 30 points. It's amazing what they've done to get this offense humming the way it has without being fully dialed in. And so, look, I think Caleb understands what's ahead for him. He's got a lot of big tests down the stretch of the season. It starts Friday against Vic Fangio and a very proven Eagles defense. And so there's just no rest here for a young quarterback trying to find himself. And I think that was probably part of what you witnessed on Sunday, David.
Dan, obviously, this is the first game they're playing against Jalen Carter, and they opted to go with a right tackle overtaking him. They felt that Jalen Carter they didn't have the leadership in the locker room to be able to absorb a guy of his with his kind of questionable, I guess, mixed reviews, however we want to talk about it. I'm just wondering how has that decision gone this year? Do you think Wright's emergence has changed the way you look at it, the unicorn stuff, or is it still kind of one of those one that got away situations?
It might be both. I mean, Jalen Carter was part of the fuel that won the Eagles a Super Bowl last year. And so we can't ever discount that in Chicago, that you let that player slip by you on the draft board when he was there for you in terms of the impact that you knew he could make. The questions were all whether you could keep him in line and whether his character would be something that would concern you on a day in, day out basis in the building. I've said from day one that in order for that decision to work out, Darnell Wright's got to be your starting offensive tackle on either side, somewhere on your offensive line, and playing at a exceptional level into the 2030s. So that's the test here. Darnell Wright has had a really good season. He's responded to coaching incredibly well. He's made a ton of growth over these last 2 months and played very well up front. Now it's all about consistency. Can you do that for the rest of 25, into 26, into 28, 29, 30, 31, 32? Like that's the test here, because you let a potential perennial Pro Bowl guy for your defense get past you. And so now you have to really hope that the investment you did make in Darnell Wright pays off. Really here in the last couple months it has. And so you want to just see that continue for a long time, not just for the next few weeks.
Ozzie Trapilo graded out quite well at left tackle, especially in pass protection situations, maybe not as much against the run. Are you going to be supportive or in agreement with the decision to put Theo Benedict back at left tackle, if that indeed is the case, because it looks like Benedict was a full participant, simulated practice, but if he's healthy this week, likely he'll return to the lineup? Or would you give Ozzie Trapilo a second start?
Yeah, my guess is Benedict would be your nod when he's back. And like you said, he was listed as full in a practice that didn't happen yesterday. And so we'll see what they decide to do for Friday. I would guess that would be where you stay for the short term, but you certainly got some encouraging video out of Sunday's game with Ozzie, for him able to hold his own, for him able to show comfort on a side where he was uncomfortable during the summer. And so, again, it's another little feather in the cap of a coaching staff that has been really rock solid for the last 5 months at not only player development, but game planning and keeping their team locked in to every single day of every single week. And it's incredible for us to be here at the year anniversary of what happened last year in Detroit, talking about how well the Chicago Bears are.
I'm wondering, we heard various coaches mention, certainly Dennis Allen spent a lot of time talking about guys that help people. Bigsy wrote a profile on Dan Roshar. I didn't know he had come out of retirement to take this job. That's incredible. And the job that he's done has been excellent. Who's been the best assistant? If you had to pick one, I'm just saying.
That's a
who's
good
your
question.
friend and who are you going to suck up to? No, it's a joke. But there's been a lot of people that we've heard of. And
I got one in mind.
I know you do, and we'll get to you in a second.
I know. I'm curious what Dan says.
Let's start with Dan, yeah.
I've got two in mind for you. Dan is one of them. I think he's just done a really, really good job. They've obviously got him pieces to work with up front. And the revitalization of the Chicago Bears offensive line is one of the best stories of this football team. He's a treat to talk to because he's one of those guys that just gives it to you straight every single week. He doesn't try to, talk in circles and hide things from you. He tells you what he tells his players. Like, this is a grown man's league, and this is what we're good at. This is what we're not good at. Al Harris's work with that secondary is certainly incredibly notable. He had success in Dallas with a couple of guys who led the NFL in interceptions with Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland, and now he's doing it with Nahshon Wright, and obviously you got Kevin Byard up there at the top of the interception leaders list as well. And so I think those two guys have been really, really, really positive additions to this coaching staff, with a coaching staff that, again, it's just rock solid top to bottom. It's a credit to what Ben put together. It's a credit to the tone Ben sets every single day for what people call precise communication, right? Like, what you're supposed to get done that day. Now go get it done, and so incredible. Again, like, I wish I could have sent myself a letter that I could have read in my hotel room in Taylor, Michigan last Thanksgiving night when you were looking at that train wreck and said, listen,
no doubt,
is going to get better, right? Like, all of this stuff that's going on with the Chicago Bears is going to change, and it's going to change significantly in 365 days, and so here we are.
It's a great frame of reference, though, because Thanksgiving arrives tomorrow, and a year ago, you're watching the meltdown in Motown, and you watch the Bears have to do what they did in firing Matt Eberflus a day later, and here they are a year later, back in contention.
Totally different
culture
story.
Has shifted. Everything seems to be a transformation change.
Who are your guys?
I would say if you had to pick one assistant coach, Dennis Allen has been the godsend that Ben Johnson needed, because he has been head coach / defense. Now, under that umbrella, I think Al Harris deserves a ton of credit for the job, Nahshon Wright, and getting guys ready to play.
And I hate to say this, but I think it's easy to pick the guys that lost all the players because they've been forced to do things, and you can't help but notice in those situations. So Dennis Allen has stood miles above everyone because of the changes he's had to make and the things he's had to address. We don't know enough about the individual position coaches, but I really have enjoyed this staff, and I think Al Harris is a great answer, and I think Dan Roshar is a really good answer too.
Yeah, and one of the fun talking points for the last few months with Al Harris is some of the ways he teaches his DBs about you don't have to cover your man, you have to cover their system, and so, like, he provides tips on little cues that you're going to get from players on the opposing offense to tell you what kind of route your guy is going to be running. And so when you start to see it through that eyes, as I'm not covering this guy, I'm covering the concept that's coming at me, it puts you in position to make plays. To the Bears' credit, they've shown a lot of ball production on plays that have come their way. And obviously Nahshon Wright's at the top of that, Kevin Byard and the other guys on that list. So it's a really cool, unique way of looking at things through a DB's eyes that tell you, okay, it almost alleviates a little bit of pressure on you, and then it allows you to understand what exactly you're trying to get done on a given play.
Who's going to win the game?
Man, I've been wrong the last 2 weeks. I picked the Vikings in a close one. I picked the Steelers in a close one. I'm leaning towards picking the Eagles in a close one, but you just can't discount this Bears team right now because it's 6-1 in the close ones, right? Like, they've been winning all these close games and finding a way. And that's not by accident. That's from a swell of belief. It's from a swell of composure in critical moments. They've got that magic right now working for them, and so now they're going to have to go do it on a huge stage in a short week against a proven opponent. I'm going to pick the Eagles probably, Mully, but I'm not going to do so with as much confidence as I certainly would have a couple months ago.
Great stuff, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, have a great
guys,
one.
Enjoy your holiday.